So we are 1 week out from the shooting in Butler, Pennsylvania, and Donald Trump still has not released any medical records about his injuries. We knew a few days back, on July 17th, the AP reported Trump's campaign is refusing to discuss his condition, release a medical report or records, or make the doctors who treated him available, leaving information to dribble out from Trump, his friends, and family. By the way, just contrast that to President Biden's COVID diagnosis. President Biden immediately reported it. He released medical records, and then President Biden on July 19, 2024, released a medical record that he was no longer had COVID, and it also detailed the medications he was on and the medications he was taking. But a week out from a very serious event that we take and treat very seriously here on the Midas Touch Network in Butler, Pennsylvania, Donald Trump is not releasing any of his medical records. This is highly unusual. I know the media wants to just let him get away with it and not call it out. I think it's critical that we call it out because, look, Donald Trump showed up at the Republican National Convention. He wore a bandage on his ear. Okay. Lots of the guests then started following what he was doing, and they wore bandages on his ear. When Donald Trump was giving a speech, he talked about how it was a shot to the head, was the language that he used. Now, an AR-15 bullet that shoots in the head or shoots in the ear would rip flesh and cause very serious injuries, which would be reflected on a medical report. Let's just talk also, though, about other undisputed data, because that's what we can report here, undisputed data, and ask these important questions. So as WPXI, or 11 Investigates, a great local network in the Pittsburgh area, here's what they say. 11 Investigates has learned that 4 Pittsburgh police officers assigned to the former president's motorcade suffered minor injuries during the shooting. The 4 motorcycle officers were part of Donald Trump's escort to and from the rally in Butler. Sources tell Chief Investigator Rick Earl the officers were just a feet away from Trump when the shots rang out. The 4 officers suffered minor injuries from flying debris caused by the bullets. Sources say the officers were hit with either plastic or metal fragments when the bullets struck objects nearby, not the bullets themselves. Now look, this does not take away from the severity or seriousness of the incident, but we deserve honest answers if Donald Trump is saying that it was a bullet that hit him in the head or hit him in the ear. That should be reflected on a report, and there should be transparency, because that is a very serious thing, and he's the leader of the Republican Party, and at least this reporting also reflects that the people who were right next to Donald Trump, they were similarly injured in the sense, though, of metal or glass fragments that hit them. But still, as of today, no medical reports being released by Donald Trump. Now, this is a habit. This is consistent. This is what he does. Instead, he filters out narratives through others, and then the media just runs with it. Like, do you remember that doctor's note that Donald Trump released in 2015 from that Dr. Harold Bornstein? And then Harold Bornstein later admitted that he didn't even write it, that Donald Trump dictated to him what to put in this note. Like, this was the note where presidential candidates, where they release full medical reports and full records, same way they would release full tax reports and records. This is what Trump released back in 2015 when it came to his medical report. To whom my concern, that's how it says, to whom my concern. I have been the personal physician of Mr. Donald Trump since 1980. His previous physician was my father, Dr. Jacob Bornstein. Over the past 39 years, I am pleased to report that Trump has had no significant medical problems. Mr. Trump has had a recent complete medical examination that showed only positive results. Actually, his blood pressure, 110/65 in a laboratory test, results were astonishingly excellent. Over the past 12 months, he has lost 15 pounds. Trump takes 81 milligrams of aspirin daily and a low dose of statin. His PSA test score is .15, very low. His physical strength and stamina are extraordinary. Mr. Trump has suffered no form of cancer, has never had a hip, knee, or shoulder replacement or any other orthopedic surgery. His only surgery was an appendectomy at age 10. His cardiovascular status is excellent. He has no history of ever using alcohol or tobacco. If elected, Mr. Trump, I can state unequivocally, will be the healthiest individual ever elected to the presidency. So those are the types of reports that Donald Trump puts out. And if you, just so you remember what happened there. So here was just the reporting at that time in 2018, where Bornstein then admitted to CNN that he didn't even write that letter. Here, play this clip.
We ran into Dr. Harold Bornstein right here, right outside his office on Park Avenue, and he told us in no uncertain terms, and this is the quote, Aaron, he being Trump, he dictated that whole letter. I didn't write that letter, meaning that Trump dictated what he wanted to go into it, and essentially Bornstein wrote it up. He did say, he compared it to the movie Fargo, and he said it takes the truth and moves it in a different direction. Think about that. Now, Bornstein tells us that he was in a car with his wife when he was on the phone with then candidate Trump in December of 2015. And she was going through with Trump what he could say and what he couldn't say. Trump was dictating what he wanted in that letter, and Bornstein was saying, okay, you can say that, you can't say that. He then came here to the office. He wrote it up. Trump's office later picked it up. He said around 4 p.m. Aaron, we have reached out to the White House, but we have not gotten a response.
Look, I'm going to talk about it. Your sex life, it's important, but your schedule is busy. You don't have time to go to a doctor's office to get treated for ED. Through HIMSS, you can get a personalized ED treatment without stepping foot outside your door. HIMSS is changing men's health care by providing access to affordable sexual health treatments, all from the comfort of your couch. HIMSS provides access to a range of doctor-trusted ED treatments, such as chewable hard mints, proven treatments like Viagra and Cialis, or their generics for up to 95% cheaper. The process is simple and 100% online, no uncomfortable doctor visits. Just answer a series of questions on their site, and a medical provider will determine the right treatment option. If prescribed, your medication ships directly to you for free. No insurance is needed. You pay one low price for your treatments, online visits, ongoing shipments, and provider messaging. HIMSS has hundreds of thousands of trusted subscribers, so if ED is getting you down, it's time you find the option that works for you. Start your free online visit today at hims.com/Midas, M-E-I-D-A-S. Again, start your free online visit today at hims.com/Midas. That's HIMS.com/Midas for your personalized ED treatment options. hims.com/Midas. The products mentioned are chewable compounded products which are not approved by or verified for safety or effectiveness by the FDA. Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan. All right. So then after that was reported by CNN, remember what happened? Then Donald Trump sent his bodyguard, Keith Schiller, who's also mentioned a lot in the hush money falsification of business records case. Keith Schiller and another group of Trump people went into Dr. Bornstein's office and raided it and took the medical files of Trump from the office. And Bornstein said that's what happened. Play the clip.
Exactly what they looking for?
All his medical records, his pictures, anything they could find. We must have been here for 25 or 30 minutes. We created a lot of chaos. I couldn't believe anybody was making a big deal about a drug that's to grow his hair, which seemed to be so important. And it certainly is not a breach of medical trust to tell somebody they take Propecia to grow their hair. What's the matter with that?
Dr. Bornstein actually passed away. He's no longer with us. But compare that to just look at the update that President Biden provided on his COVID case. July 19, 2024, President Biden completed his 4th dose of Paxlovid. This morning, his loose, non-productive cough and hoarseness continued to be his primary symptoms, but they have improved meaningfully from yesterday. His pulse, blood pressure, respiratory rate, and temperature remain absolutely normal. His oxygen saturation continues to be excellent on room air. His lungs remain clear. Then it just goes on to talk about the diagnosis. Now, People are saying, okay, is President Biden going to release his records? What about his other records? What about his cognitive exams and neurological exams? He did. Not only did he release it, compare the report that Donald Trump released to the one that Biden released on February 28th, 2024. It's 6 pages long. That is incredibly detailed. Height, 72 inches. Weight, 178 pounds. BMI, 24.1. Blood pressure, 132/78. Pulse, 64. Respiratory rate, 14. Temperature, 98.6. You go through as well and talks about issues that he has: arthritis, gastro-reflux, neuropathy in the feet. But it is a very detailed thing that goes through whether your current health conditions, non-valvular atrial fibrillation. It goes on to talk about seasonal allergies, stiffened gait. It talks about sensory peripheral neuropathy of feet. It has a routine skin cancer test, optometry surveillance, medication, social history, physical exam. And it goes through everything with a detailed summary, 6 pages long, very, very, very specific. But when it comes to this very serious incident that took place with Donald Trump, we don't have the medical records. Meanwhile, you have the MAGA Republicans out there saying they did this to Trump. They. No, it was a 20-year-old white male, registered Republican, voted in the 2022 closed midterms. It's an individual who had Trump signs on his property, an individual whose classmates said that he supported right-wing positions. He wore Second Amendment paraphernalia. Just talk about what really went on. And look, Donald Trump saying it was a shot to the head. Here's what he said at the Republican National Convention. Play the clip.
And thought, actually most did, that I was dead. They knew it was a shot to the head. They saw the blood.
Okay, so let's just see the records. Let's just see the records. See the medical records. And again, it's one thing. This is a serious incident. So was it the bullet that hit? Why not just release the info? I mean, that would, anyway. Hit subscribe. We'll get to 3 million together. Thanks for watching.
Hey Midas Mighty, love this report? Continue the conversation by following us on Instagram @MidasTouch to keep up with the most important news of the day. What are you waiting for? Follow us now.